So we're adding a constant on the end of this and causing the graph to move vertically up or vertically down. Okay, if this were, for example, a negative number, so let's look at this again. So, for example, if I had y is equal to x squared, and I wanted to move this down 2 units, we would say x squared minus 2. So that would move it down. We'll say negative 2 is here. So that would shift the graph down 2 units, as you can see here, shifting it down 2 units. Alright. What we haven't talked about is what happens if I wanted to shift this graph. We've been talking about reflecting it by throwing a negative out in front and shifting it up or down. But what if I wanted to, and you know what, let's just make this a different color this time. Add some color to all this. Let's say I wanted to shift the graph over. Okay, so let's say that's 0 and that's 2. If I want to shift this graph over 2 units, now keep notice that the vertex right here, I'm going to write the vertex. The vertex is 2, 0. Okay, and the vertex here is 0, 0. If I want to shift the graph over 2 units, what I'm going to do here is we have y is equal to x squared. I'm going to plug in x minus 2. So I'm going to substitute an x minus 2 in for this x right here. Now look what happens. If I take a 2 and I plug it in, 2 minus 2 is 0, and 0 squared is 0, and therefore y is equal to 0. Alright, that just tells us that this point is located right here. So this shifts it over 2 units to the right. Okay. If I were to shift it 2 units back in this direction to negative 2, then in this number right here, we're shifting it negative 2. So this would become y is equal to, we're going to plug a negative 2 in, and a negative, a minus, and a minus is a positive, so you get x plus 2 squared. And so this graph right here, or this function here, okay, will correspond with this graph. We plug negative 2 in, negative 2 plus 2 is 0, y is 0, so we know that that's the point right there. That would be the vertex. Alright, so shifting it to the right, we would put minus to whatever number we're going to. Shifting it to the left, we're plugging in this negative number into here, okay? And a negative is positive, so it seems like minus here you'd be going that direction, and plus you'd be going in that direction, but you got to keep in mind that that plus, because we're putting in a negative number right here, and a minus and a negative is plus. Okay. All right. So now we know how to shift it left and right, and up and down, and reflect it, right, by throwing a negative out in front. So I think we should clear the whiteboard. And now so let's say that I have x minus 2 squared plus 2. Where in the world is this going to be located? Well, we want to go to the right 2 units, and we're going to go up 2 units, and so we end up with a parabola that looks like that. Okay, where this is the vertex right here. The vertex is at 2, 2. See that? Vertex is at 2, 2.